Welcome back to Yoshi Entertainment, everybody. Unfortunately, just recently, it was released in the media that Irv Gotti passed away. Unfortunately, he had a stroke not too long ago, which then led to him allegedly being on life support. Unfortunately, he did not make it. Now, a lot of people have been weighing in. Some people have been real rude and disrespectful. Other people have been saying, okay, I know he wasn't exactly the best person, but we should not mock and make fun of those who are no longer with us. Now, a lot of people were taking this time to bring up two conversations. The first was your health, your personal health, your physical health, what you eat, because people were bringing up allegedly that he did not have the best diet, that he was just eating all kinds of junk food, bad stuff. Now, I'm even real extending in mercy and grace to people. I'm not one of those, everybody should switch to a vegan or vegetarian diet. I am of the firm belief that you need to pray and seek God before you make that kind of a decision, because what some of these people won't tell you is that a lot of that stuff, I believe, I could be wrong. I can't say for sure because I'm not a doctor. I didn't go to school for nutrition. I'm just speaking off of experience, what I've seen people go through with my own eyes. Some people, from what I can believe, from what I believe and what I've seen, there was even a doctor who wrote a book on this, that not everybody can go vegan. I believe it has a lot to do with your blood type, your body type, although that should not stop you from eating a mostly vegetable-based diet. I believe that you should have mostly vegetables on your plate. If you're going to eat meat, don't eat, pork and all this heavy beef and all that kind of stuff and shrimp and all that kind of stuff. I know people, they like to eat seafood. Although if you're going to do that, at least do it in extreme moderation. I'm saying you really shouldn't be eating it at all because it's really not healthy. But I get it. People buy what they can afford, which is where the mercy and grace comes in. Because I know some people can't afford to eat, organic food. Now, if you can, you need to be. You need to be eating everything organic that you can. You need to be on supplements. You need to be working out. Again, if you're going to eat meat, eat beef very occasionally, eat chicken, eat fish, beef and chicken that are raised without steroids and antibiotics, organic, wild caught fish. The only problem though is you could do all of that and still be messed up, but you still need to try the best that you can, because once again, some more grace and mercy that needs to be extended for Americans especially, that we live in a country that does not prioritize or care about our actual health. We have a government that does not care about or prioritize our health, and we know this because there are all kinds of things used in our food that was not made by God, that's banned in other countries. And it's said that, it's okay to use it or eat it by companies that were made by the government that's supposed to be their whole job telling us what's supposed to be eaten. Their job is food. Their job is pharmaceuticals. Their job is to tell us, this is okay, that is okay. And they've made it okay for companies to use man-made chemicals and all kind of other man-made garbage that's given us all kinds of issues. Once again, that's banned in other countries. Although still, we need to do the best that we can with what we have. Lay off the processed sugar and the processed foods. Nobody wants to hear, but it tastes so good. And we don't like the organic stuff that has organic, healthier substitutes in the products. You gonna care when your arteries start getting clogged and you have all kind of issues like diabetes, high blood pressure, and everything else. And unfortunately, that is something that Irv Gotti suffered from, diabetes. And I do feel like he got to a complacent place, respectfully, where he felt like because he had it for so long, he would be fine. Even in his article, it quoted him saying that he felt like diabetes was causing his body to deteriorate. Once again, allegedly, he'd had it for a while. And he admitted that he did not have it under control. And they even said, are you going to change how you've been eating? And he basically said, I'm going to live my life. Essentially saying he didn't care what he had, what he was suffering with, what he needed to do in order to either slow it down, fix it, or at least live with it a little bit better. He was going to continue moving at the pace that he had been moving at. And that was something else somebody was talking about, the health aspect of this. When you are living a high-paced lifestyle where you're smoking, drinking very heavily, eating all kinds of processed foods, that's going to cause diseases. Like, we already are going to deal with something. We probably have something genetically that we're not aware of. God forbid. Although we probably have some things we don't know about, we might encounter some things on the way. We might end up working somewhere or being involved in an environment that causes us to have something. We don't need to add more to ourselves by eating in a raggedy way. Once again, this is a wake-up call to the community concerning what we're putting in our bodies. And respectfully, we got to be 100% honest. Irv Gotti had no excuse. All the money that man had, he had too much money to not be eating healthy. If I had the kind of money that Irv Gotti had, I would have made sure that me and my family as a whole would have had the most organic, healthiest food that we could find on this planet, y'all. People want to act like money has nothing to do with it. Oh, it has everything to do with it. You know how many people are trying their best to eat healthy? They're doing the best they can, but because they don't have a whole lot of money, there's a lot that they cannot do. Unfortunately, we do the best that we can, like drinking more water, exercising, but stuff like organic foods and a lot of supplements are really a privilege afforded to people who have a certain amount of money. There are some people, they still try to do it the best way that they can. But again, the best of the best, the cream of the crop when it comes to supplements and whole foods, healthy foods, organic foods, is a privilege, once again, afforded to those who have a certain amount of money. Another thing that we need to, once again, really drive home concerning the situation, talk about being truthful. I just talked about how this comes from not living a healthy lifestyle, not exercising, not eating healthy, but also living a very fast-paced, hedonistic lifestyle, a carnal, sinful lifestyle. People don't want to admit this, but I've talked about on this channel before. Leave the cigarettes, leave the smoking, leave the drinking alone. It will all send you to an early grave. And even if it doesn't send you early, on your way there, it's going to be real miserable because of all the health problems. You're going to be then picked up because of doing all of that stuff. Now, I'm not about to go back and forward with anybody about whether or not drinking and smoking is something that you should be doing. You shouldn't be putting that stuff in the temple that God has given you anyways. It is indeed a sinful thing to do. Now, if somebody is genuinely curious, we can look into some scripture, some biblical evidence that speaks against doing those things. But for those who are just so set on doing them anyways, and they want to just find any excuse, whether it's actually reasonable or logical, which none of it's reasonable or logical anyways, to try and justify it, once again, I'm not going back and forward, because the truth is the truth, and we'll either accept it at the end of the day, or you're going to be deluded. You're going to be deceived. Only God can help you at that point if that's what you choose. Now, a lot of people have been bringing up Irv Gotti's past. Once again, people were saying we should not speak in a mocking way of those who are deceased, although there have been a plethora of responses and a spectrum, if you will, of responses. Some people saying that, oh, he was a great producer. He was great at his job. He brought a lot of people together. He contributed a lot to music and to the culture, which is true. Now, there were some people saying they didn't care for Irv Gotti, although they were also saying, just because we didn't care for him, God still rests his soul. We hope he got his life together and his life right before what happened to him. Condolences to his family. Now, there were some people who just didn't care at all. I'll be real honest with you. They were basically like, we didn't care for Irv Gotti. We still don't care for him now. Once again, I still believe that there's a right and a wrong way to go about things. If you didn't care for the guy, you don't have to say anything. Let's go back to the time of, if you can't say anything nice, don't say anything at all. The man is deceased. He has a family. They're probably looking at these responses. Or at least you should respond in a way that you're under the assumption that they are watching what you're posting, watching what you're saying, and having empathy and saying, even if I had a father who didn't do right by everybody and he was deceased, I wouldn't want people coming up on here speaking so poorly. So some people are having empathy. Some people are not having empathy at all. Now, a lot of people were bringing up the issue, the situation that happened with Ashanti. There are many people who really, really like Ashanti, who value her and her contribution to the music. And they didn't really care for Irv Gotti because of, y'all know I have to say allegedly, what he did to her. Her coming out and sitting down with Angie Martinez after all these years, stating what we've seen really happen back in the day, him basically putting her through what they put people through in the industry, basically alleging that there was always a condition upon him helping her with her music. Oh, you want your music put out? Well, you've got to do XYZ, things that he knew she did not want to do, which was very wrong. Again, a lot of artists have been through this. There have been artists that have been trying to come out and expose this happening in the industry. It's always some gatekeeper or some producer or somebody that's putting these conditions again on their work, holding their career over their head, saying, if you don't sleep with me, if you don't do this, if you don't sell out, if you don't do that, then I won't do this for you, which was already their job to do. They were already supposed to be helping these people. But again, it was always conditional in the worst, most demonic, carnal, perverse ways. And the saddest part about this is I feel like there are still some people, even to this day, that would have never held Irv Gotti accountable for that. Even while he was still with us, it's like they never really took a step back and said, wow, that was really grimy of him to do to her. They'll blame her if she decided, well, I finally didn't broke down. You didn't finally broke me. Fine. So give you what you want so that I can finally do my job. But they'll never hold him actually accountable for what he did to her, which is really sad and disgusting. Despite all of that, despite the good and the bad, and allegedly, people were reminding everybody that Ashanti and Irv Gotti did not leave off on the best note, so to speak, the last time they spoke or interacted with each other. Apparently, allegedly, he wished deceasement, if you will, upon her because things did not go his way, allegedly. Remember that, me talking about on this channel, people not handling rejection or things not going their way with maturity and grace. We can all learn something from this. Despite all of that, she still felt horrible about what happened to him. Even offered her condolences and said that she was going to still miss him, that she still felt bad about what happened. She was very classy and had a lot of tact about her response to what happened to him. You could tell that even though they'd fallen out, that he didn't do all what was right that he was supposed to towards her, she didn't wish bad upon him. She didn't want the worst to befall him for it to come to this. Now, another person who had something to say about this situation was 50 Cent, which there's no surprise there, the internet troll of the black community. Now, a lot of people were saying they understood why 50 Cent responded the way that he did, considering the beef between him and Irv Gotti, all of what happened. At the same time, I've said this before, I must say it again. There's a right and a wrong way to do everything, and you will reap what you sow. Just because you can stoop to a bottom-feeding level and hit below the belt does not mean that you should. I also mentioned that the man's family is probably watching this stuff. The internet is forever, unfortunately. What you post will be there till the end of days. And he is a very influential figure. He's a very famous person. He has a large platform. A lot of people are going to repost, react to, make videos about the stuff that he says, so there's no not seeing it. This is why I promote having character, good character, being led by God, being led by the Spirit, having God in your life, making God the head of your life, being saved and Holy Ghost filled, because if 50 Cent had any of that, he would have been the bigger person. God will lead you and encourage you to be the bigger person. In this situation, he had that opportunity, but he took it and he threw it in the trash. I'm not going to repost the disrespectful mess that he posted. I will leave some information to an article that talks about what he said in the description box, but I will not repost that on this channel because, like I said, it was some disrespectful mess. Once again, I'm befuddled at the people who are shocked by what he said. This man has been getting praised and supported for being a disrespectful internet troll bully. Why in the world would anybody expect any different from him now? Especially even because somebody who was his enemy, his arch nemesis apparently, is deceased now. A lot of people were also saying, now 50, that's mad disrespectful to do and dangerous because you reap what you sow. Remember what I said about not mocking and making fun of the deceased? It's not a good thing to do. And it doesn't matter how much he feels like he has the right to do it. He could have at least kept it to himself, right? That could have been the least that he could have done. But like I said, clearly he's not capable of that. That even is too much like right for 50 Cent to handle. One more thing people have been bringing up in the middle of this situation, once again, this goes back to that hedonistic lifestyle, sleeping with a bunch of people, being involved in fruitless relationships instead of settling down with a functional individual, the non-toxic individual, and having a beautiful relationship that is peaceful, that is functional. There are a lot of people bringing up that allegedly, I'll say allegedly, there are statistics that support men who get married, who are in committed relationships, actually live longer than single men. And we've actually seen proof of this because Irv Gotti is not the most recent 50-something-year-old who passed away from a disease that was 100% preventable, or at least avoidable at the time or for years to come, who was also unmarried, living a, once again, ungodly, carnal, hedonistic lifestyle. I'm thinking of a certain other someone. Y'all know who I'm talking about. Now, some people have been saying it's because when you're married, you have a wife who's more concerned about your health as a man than most men are. Is that something that people have noticed? That's something I've noticed myself personally in real life from real experience. A lot of men do not take care of themselves. Unfortunately, that's just the truth. There are statistics that align with this. Now, when a man is married, the woman, their wife, is usually the one that's basically booking their appointments, going to their doctor's appointments with them, making sure they remember to take their medication, making sure they're eating decent. Hey, take some of that bread off of that plate and put some more vegetables on. Oh, well, I don't want to. Well, that's too bad because you ain't clocking out early over some doggone bread. Get some water instead of some soda. Now, make sure you all pay attention to what I said. Statistics say that men who are married usually tend to live longer. I didn't say that all men who were married live longer, because there are some exceptions to the rule. Although I say it because of my own personal experience, which is how I know this is the truth. Again, watching people in married relationships, the woman, the wife, being the one helping essentially to keep her husband alive. This is the way I feel like this dynamic is supposed to be. Like, there's a reason why the woman is called the helpmeet in the relationship. She's helping her husband in every aspect of life. Helping if he needs help money-wise by being a dual income. In other words, having a job. Helping him by making sure he's maintaining his health when otherwise he would just let it go to waste. But unfortunately, like I said, respectfully, we've got to talk about this. Irv Gotti threw that in the trash. Allegedly, he was in a relationship with his, well, they said estranged wife. I don't even know for sure if he even officially divorced that woman, because people were calling her estranged wife. Some people were calling her ex-wife. I don't know for sure. Apparently, that woman did care about him, but he threw his relationship in the trash to chase after, once again, a hedonistic, carnal, ungodly lifestyle. I remember there was, if I'm not mistaken, whenever he sat down with Drink Champs, or it was somebody, I think that's who it was, when he was talking about how he was in a relationship with a young woman that was like half his age at one point in time. I've said this before, every single one of those kind of relationships, somebody's being taken advantage of. That is the dynamic of a relationship like that, because there's no business for somebody in their mid to early 20s to be with somebody who's in their 50s, 40s, 60s, etc. And even the way he talked about the relationship, it was like a joke to him. It was real disrespectful, and I really felt bad for the young lady, because if you all will remember the interview that I'm talking about, he talked about how he basically dumped her over her asking him for like $26,000, I think. And even his friend said, okay, well, you said that she was good looking, she was a pretty little thing. That's what you got with her for. So what did she want the money for? And he said so that she could continue her education. I believe it was for college fees. And this young lady, if I'm not mistaken, had a father who was alive and well. And what I'm to understand is he was aware of this situation, but allowed it to happen because he wanted somebody who was rich, essentially, to take care of his daughter. We need to get, once again, I preach this all the time, to a place in society where we have a character where we do not pimp out and sell out our children over money. Like, I'm not going to let my child, if I had a child, go and lay up with some dude, some crusty dude who's, twice her age, just so, oh, well, at least you'll be taken care of. You won't want for anything. He'll make sure, you're not like these other people out here struggling. That's unacceptable. Again, that's like you're selling your children out, you're pimping them out. But I won't get on that tangent today. But they laughed at him and said, oh, you should have just gave her the money. This is the kind of stuff he was involved in. And again, more proof that if he would have been involved with a godly, committed relationship with a woman who clearly cared about him, had his children, somewhere, a relationship that was peaceful, again, functional, maybe he would have been a healthier individual. She would have had that chance to tell him, hey, let's eat a little bit healthier. Let me influence you to change your habits. And he would have, because he loved her, because they had a foundation, a relationship that they built that involved mutual love and respect. Once again, what I've noticed is functional men, non-toxic men, committed men who love and respect tend to be healthier men. I said tend to be. Or men who are connected in holy matrimony to a woman that's functional, peaceful, loving, respectful, who cares about them, tend to be healthier men. And again, a good way to have a healthy, functional relationship with a woman that loves you and respects you and treats you right is by treating her right. Now, did I say that every woman would be the same? No, but there are plenty of them. Once again, we're not going to play in people's faces and lie either. Plenty of women, if you love them, you treat them right, you commit to them, and you don't do them dirty, stab them in the back, throw them under the bus. They will be there for you. They will love you, respect you, treat you right, and be the helpmeet that God has placed them in your life to be. I can go on and on about how true happiness and health is rooted in faithfulness, in committed relationships, and not one night stands or you taking advantage of somebody's underage or barely not underage or still immature minded because they're young daughter or son. But I won't go on. You can see it for yourself. Now, his ex-wife, Debbie Lorenzo, did make a post. She spoke of her children. She spoke of him in a very heartfelt way, that she would miss him. She spoke very highly of him and his contributions to the music world. I would go so far as to say that it is apparent that despite the good, the bad, and the ugly, she still appreciated him and she still had love for him and also respect for him even until the very end. Y'all let me know what y'all think about all of this down in the comments below respectfully. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Y'all all have a very blessed, beautiful, and safe day.